It's a refuge for Florida panthers that people can enjoy too. The Florida Panther National Wildlife Refuge in eastern Collier County is 26,000 acres of prime habitat for the last remnants of a species that once roamed the southeastern United States. But the star attraction will only make an occasional appearance. However, there are many other sites for visitors to enjoy.
The public trails have so many different ecosystems that you can see marshlands, you can see forest lands, grasslands. There's an opportunity for all kinds of birds and wildlife. But again, participating has gotten me the privilege of seeing some amazing things and learning from some amazing people and just getting to really connect with the Florida that I grew up in and that is disappearing.
Lisa.ostberg is originally from West Palm Beach. When she moved to Naples a few years ago, her love of the outdoors drew her to the Refuge, which is 20 miles east of Naples. She regularly enjoys the peace and solitude here, giving her the chance to observe wildlife up close on the 1.6 miles of public trails at the main entrance off State Road 29. At least 126 different bird species have been observed at the Refuge, as well as 22 kinds of mammals. Managing the land to benefit an umbrella species like the Florida panther also helps other species. During World War II, the area's first intensive logging took place. Cypress trees that stood for centuries were consumed in only 13 years, while destructive wildfires further degraded the habitat. 50 years after the last tree fell, a new generation of cypress trees are host to a resurgence in wading birds and rare orchids. The cypress trees are naturally replacing themselves, but employees must manage the water and propagate native orchids, which have been endangered through logging, poaching, and habitat loss.
The refuge is in the process right now of building our greenhouse. We've got a lab that's completed now, and we're actually growing orchids in a lab environment. And then putting them in the greenhouse, we need people that are knowledgeable, that can take care of our greenhouse orchids and then help us plant these.
Improving the hydrology of the refuge maintains regional water quality and keeps orchids protected because the wetland areas offset the devastating effects of freezing conditions. Data collected by refuge employees shows that enough water in a cypress swamp during a freeze can prevent a population of orchids from being wiped out. Removal of invasive species is also important to managing the habitat. From Brazilian pepper bushes to Cuban tree frogs, refuge employees and volunteers participate in a number of eradication efforts. Aaron Thompson is a senior at Bering Collier High School who regularly volunteers at the refuge. By visiting nature parks, he thinks his generation can become more involved in their environment.
It's amazing to me that I actually can see a difference. I can see a change in this generation, at least, for the most part, that people do actually seem to care. They're not, they know what's going on. They can see, anything from the idea of global warming to anything from deforestation. They say, hey man, that's really cool, that turtle, the turtles are, nesting or anything else. They want to be a part of that. You come out here and it's just like, wow, I don't have to run and hustle and bustle around. You can just sit here and just listen sometimes.
Lisa.ostberg enjoys the refuge so much, she now volunteers as a board member of Friends of the Florida Panther, which raises money and awareness about the importance of protecting it.
If we save a panther, we save so much land that provides us with water, provides us with clean air, provides us with so many benefits that if we lose habitat for panthers, we lose so much else. And that to me is very rewarding. I feel like I'm doing a little part to save this amazing creature and help save the Everglades and the world that we live in.
Fire is also important to the health of the refuge. Prescribed burns are conducted on a rotating basis so that animals always have food and shelter in unaffected areas. Regular burns can also prevent devastating wildfires like those in the American West. The recovery process is remarkably fast.
Right about 5 months ago, we did a prescribed fire here, and of course it was during the warm season. Summer was already here. Our prescribed fires are very controlled. We pay very good attention to relative humidity, temperature, wind speed, that sort of thing. And in so doing, this time of the year, we get these wonderful effects. Muley grass is actually in bloom, this pink tassel here. and it won't bloom unless you burn a particular time of the year. We've got glades lobelia coming up. Just a few months ago, there were millions of wildflowers here, and we're actually seeing the fruits of our labor. We're seeing a habitat that is operating the way it should be. It's great panther habitat, it's great deer habitat, and by the way, panthers like to eat deer.
So, what are the chances of actually seeing a Florida panther in the wild? This master of stealth is usually the one doing the observing.
You know, I've probably driven by them a million times, just, you know, driving down the road, and, you know, very rarely do you ever catch a cat off guard. And this cat that I saw here, it wasn't off guard. It just didn't care that I saw him. And he was, you know, he was inquisitive, sitting on his rear end, you know, like a German Shepherd at attention, just looking.
As a biologist for the Fish and Wildlife Service, Larry Richardson helps manage the 26,000-acre preserve. Since working at the Refuge from the beginning in 1989, he's only seen a Florida panther 4 times without tracking them. During his most recent sighting at the field station, he realized he was the one being observed.
So about a month ago, I'm walking out to my truck next to the greenhouse, and I happen to glance over to my left, and looking at me underneath this tree is a Florida panther, and in fact, he had a radio collar on.
Through telemetry of the collar's radio signals, Richardson determined that it was male panther number 154, a regular visitor to the east side of the refuge. He shares the same space as the public trails, but humans shouldn't be concerned even if they do come across this expert predator in the wild. A Florida panther has never attacked a human in the wild. A program that released female Texas cougars in South Florida has increased the genetic diversity of Florida panthers, whose isolation from their historic relatives caused inbreeding. The Florida panther is increasing in numbers, but the habitat is dwindling and encounters with humans are more frequent. Just before Halloween in 2007, Golden Gate residents got a rare treat when a panther climbed a tree and sat for several hours before disappearing into the nearby woods. Even if most Floridians never see a panther in the wild, they are out there, and sometimes watching us to see what we are doing.